Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Brother Gaming HD here today. In today's video, we are going to be doing an off-topic video talking about the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Trilogy and why I think it is a literal masterpiece of its time. And for those who do not know what the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise is, it's technically a what-if scenario if the power plant in Chernobyl, I believe, had a secondary explosion that pretty much turned all of Pripyat, Ukraine, into this post-apocalyptic world full of radiation, monsters, and militaries and even survival groups fighting for control over the zone. And that's what S.T.A.L.K.E.R technically is. It is such a phenomenal game and series and overall that I started with Shadows of Chernobyl, going into Clear Sky, and finishing up the Call of Pripyat. And with each game, it had its own atmosphere, it had its own immersion within each individual game, respectively. With the Shadows of Chernobyl, for instance, you're just this random guy. You're basically called the Marked One, and your whole goal is to find this guy called Strelok. And while you're going through different areas of Pripyat trying to find this man, trying to find this individual and eliminate him, you're just going through the motion. You're basically getting thrown into the most randomest scenarios that you could possibly think of. You could just be walking down the road. Next thing you know, you can get jumped by these mutated dogs or just normal dogs that were affected by radiation. Or you'll just get jumped by a bunch of freaking bandits with AKs. And it's like, shit. Like, the world feels so alive. It feels so immersive to where you're always getting into action. You're always getting into trouble when you're not even looking for the trouble. And that's the funny part. And it feels so alive mostly because of the fact that, how can I say it? The games, sure, they are older. They do show their age, especially here on the PlayStation side of things. I'm playing on a PlayStation 5, so I don't know how it managed to literally hold this game up. I've had a couple crashes while playing this trilogy, but Shadows of Chernobyl in its own right felt like a masterpiece alone, just with the immersion and, what they could have done with the technology that they had. And it just felt so different playing something that doesn't feel like it's rushed, doesn't feel like it's half-assed, half-baked, and feels more like a true experience of what gaming should be compared to what we have nowadays, for instance, like Call of Duty, Overwatch, other popular IPs, even Battlefield, for instance. Those games have basically been out for so many years to the point of where people are getting fatigued. People are literally getting burnt out on those series and on those franchises alone. And to be honest, I would have never found this series to Sosa. I keep forgetting your actual name, dude, but I call him Sosa for short. But I remember I was like Sad Rosa, I believe what it was. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, man, but dude, I want to thank you for at least pointing me to this franchise. This franchise has been a phenomenal experience, been a phenomenal gameplay, and I do plan on playing S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. And that's a message for you, man, if you end up seeing this video. But back to the topic at hand here for the rest of the video. Continuing my story through the first game, just running into mutants, running into, like I said, bandits, private militaries fighting for control of the zone. The world felt like it was alive, not even having to mention the fact that there were like these zombies that were brain controlled and stuff, and you had to worry about those guys as well. And even the inventory management in this game was even a little bit challenging at first. And Eventually, I got used to it, even though I am an ammo hoarder. I do hoard ammo, and I do try to find the best weapons in the game. I mostly ended up rocking an AK, a little sniper, a shotgun, everything along the lines of that nature for my particular playstyle. And the first game, it was phenomenal. It felt so alive. The world felt so great. Sure, there might have been segments where it did feel like it was a little bit empty and abandoned, but that's the atmosphere. You're supposed to feel like you're just traveling this post apocalyptic world of Chernobyl, and you just don't know what you're going to run into. Even anomalies and radiation poisoning play a factor into the game. But going into Clear Skies, that game, I felt like it was a step up. It was an improvement from Shadows of Chernobyl going into Clear Skies. Sure, it was a little bit of a slower start to the game, but once the game started picking up, I started feeling that survivability factor, that point of where this last gunfight could be my last. I have to make everything count. I have to make my ammo count. I have to make my food count. I have to make every second count until I'm able to get to the next spot in Clear Skies. And it felt so, what's the word? An atmospheric and immersive to the point of where I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be getting out of this firefight alive. It just feels so chaotic, so hectic to the point of where I'm like, I might die here. Shit. I might need a save, maybe. And going in and with that game, at a certain point, like, the game kept throwing curveballs at me. It kept throwing stuff at me that I was never prepared for. Like, near the very end of the game, I was going through this area. This is like the very end of the game, if I'm right. I'm trying to go through the very end of the game, getting to this area, trying to get to the nuclear power plant because I'm trying to stop S.T.A.L.K.E.R, which technically was the first guy you played in the first game. And apparently, you're basically hunting him down within Clear Skies, but what made it feel so great was the fact that you played as a mercenary. You just played as some random mercenary, going through the world, doing your tasks, and you were able to join factions in the game as well, which I end up looking that up later on. But to me, I'm a mercenary. I'm a merc, right? It's like, I don't want to join a faction. I want to do my own thing. I want to go do my thing and be a merc, helping out the world, surviving. Sure, it could have been easy mode at a certain point for me if I joined a faction, but I didn't want that. I wanted the challenge. I wanted the experience of a mercenary. And I managed to experience that with Clear Skies, being able to feel the atmosphere around me, knowing that I'm running into bandits, I'm running into mutants, I'm literally running away from a freaking bloodsucker. And those things are nightmare fuel. I'm not joking when I say that. Those things are a literal nightmare fuel if you literally run into one. Like, they'll just like, think of them like the freaking Predator from the Predator franchise. Like, they'll cloak and then they'll recloak. Like, they'll decloak and recloak, and they'll just keep coming at you. And you're just pretty much like, okay, it's me or them. And your best friend at that moment is a freaking shotgun. That is your best friend right there. You carry that shotgun with you wherever you go. You do not let her go. I'm sorry, I'm getting too realistic into this video, but that's how I feel. But after going through all of that, going through Clear Skies, and near at the very end, the freaking whole entire plant like ends up exploding with a giant emission, ending the game. And I'm like, there's no way that this game is going to end, right? The game can't end like this. I need a better ending. I go to Call of Pripyat, and it just got better. It literally felt so much better in the third game, which I'm pretty sure the most recent installment is going to be better, but I haven't got to that game yet, so I'm holding that off till now. But me going into Call of Pripyat, I was like, okay, Shadows of Chernobyl, great game. Going to Clear Skies, way much better improved in graphics and fidelity, as well as the smoothness of your gameplay. That got a whole lot better. I'm thinking like, there's no way it can get better in the Call of Pripyat. I was wrong. This time, I wasn't a mercenary. I wasn't the marked one. I was a fucking major for a military group. My whole mission from the beginning of the game until the very freaking end was to solve the mystery of why 5 random helicopters inside of the zone all went down at the same exact freaking time. And there was one helicopter where I technically had to take out this whole entire hard drive or memory device from the helicopter and literally take it to a certain individual that specializes in that. And I end up listening to the radio transmission, and it turned out that they were basically struck out of the sky, but I didn't know what took it out. I didn't know what took out all the flyboys literally in the sky, literally wiping them out. And through that whole entire time, I'm literally thinking to myself, maybe it was a Gauss rifle. The Gauss rifle is what literally took out the helicopter, took out all the helicopters from the start. But after just thinking about it for a little bit and like continuing on with the story of the Call of Pripyat, which was my main objective throughout the whole entire game, I ended up learning that it was the emissions. The emissions managed to, the anomalies and the emissions and all that stuff, took out all these helicopters at the same exact time, simultaneously. And I was like, nah, there's no way. My prediction was actually wrong. I was literally thinking it was Gauss rifles, but after literally listening to that tape and listening to that recording, it made sense. All of them literally went down at the same exact time. And I'm like, wow. It's like, there's no way the game's gonna end like this, right? Nah, it doesn't end like that. It just keeps throwing curveballs at you left, right, and center. And near the very, and like, this is like the gameplay that you're seeing right now. It is the very end of the Call of Pripyat campaign mission storyline. And this is the definition of true atmosphere and immersion. Because you end up finding S.T.A.L.K.E.R again, or he ends up finding you, and he ends up telling you, how the helicopters actually went down, which I already explained that to you here prior, a couple seconds ago into this video, like not even long. But after that, we were basically beelining it for the evac situation. Like we were like my mission was done. My mission as Major was completely over. My final mission was to get the hell out of this fire zone, out of this zone alone, with a group of soldiers fighting through mutants like snorks, controlled zombie infected type of soldiers, and even another group known as the Monolith. Like, this was literally a firefight for life. It's either get to the helicopters or freaking die trying. And to be honest, the Call of Pripyat, it is actually my favorite out of the trilogy, mostly because of this last mission right here. This mission was technically so peak for me to the point where I felt like, shit, this is the true definition of atmosphere and immersion wrapped in one. But it's been your boy Brotherhood Gaming HD, everybody. If you do enjoy this longer commentary, please subscribe, like, hit the bell notifications, and I will catch you next one. Peace out, and goodbye, everybody.